I really like this episode with Terrell because he actually builds cash with wholesaling, and then he uses that cash to take down properties and build his portfolio, which he knows holding over time can build massive wealth. He also sometimes doesn't have the cash to take down a property because his cash is tied up elsewhere, and he talks about using friends and family to contribute their money, how they structure that so he doesn't miss out on the very best deals. Oh, a good place to start, I think, would be maybe just tell me, like, what does your business do? What are the numbers? What are the types of deals? And where are you guys located?
Okay. Well, I'm in South Florida. That's why I predominantly invest in South Florida. However, I have properties in Texas, North and South Carolina as well. But the base of my business has been in South Florida for the last 5 or 6 years. We do a lot of buy and hold. We do some fix and flip every now and then, depending on if the margins are a little shorter. We really focus on trying to create like stabilized, affordable housing for people in our specific market. So sometimes we rent out to a lot of Section 8 tenants, and we try to make sure that we give them like a home that has like 2025 standards, of course. We're not like a slumlord, we slap paint on the wall, but we try to do our best to make sure that we put the tenant in the best position possible. For sure.
Got it. Okay. So how do you acquire your single family homes? And is it all single family, by the way?
Mostly single family.
Okay.
I have a few multi-families, but mostly single families in my portfolio for sure.
Got it. Yes. How are you finding those deals?
Mostly off market with direct to seller, whether it's with a probate situation, someone may be facing foreclosure or going through bankruptcy. Those are like our three main sources. However, a lot of real estate agent relationships also brings me a lot of opportunities. I was a agent first in my market, had a lot of success, and when I built those relationships, people now know they can come to me and I'll get the deal done and I can close in a swift manner. So agent relationships also is a really big key source for us as well.
Got it.
Yeah.
And you're not just starting out. You didn't just do 5 deals, right? Because I know you need to be doing a certain level to be here.
Yes.
So usually if it's on the wholesaling side, you need to be doing maybe around 50 deals a year. And on the primarily buy and hold,
yes.
What kind of volume are you at now?
So we do about 30 to 40 deals a year. Okay. We're close, we're up there. So that's why they place us in this level, of course. They saw that, we're bubbling up into that 50 plus deal. And so they wanted me to get around people that, one, are producing a little bit higher and then kind of get some of their insight on what they do in their everyday business operations. And so that's what kind of intrigued me to join the group. But yeah, we do about 30 to 40 deals a year, whether it's wholesale or we take them down and keep them as well.
Okay, got it. And so that's a fantastic business, and I love your mission about providing that stable, affordable housing, not just slapping the paint on there. And so a lot of people here, they have a wholesaling business that produces cash.
Yes.
You're buying almost everything. So how do you put bread on the table for you and your family, so to speak?
Yeah, so
with that business model.
a lot of properties that we take down, we also bring in some private investors as well, because like when I was first growing and scaling, the trouble that we had was liquidity. That's what most people kind of meet as they kind of start beginning to scale up more and more. And then we started incorporating some private investors as well to kind of put up maybe the down payment or renovations, and then we reimburse them a return on their investment. But we do keep a nice percentage of those deals to be wholesale to remain liquidity. And then we just pour that money back into reinvesting into other real estate and just keeping it going that way.
Got it.
Yeah.
So when you're financing it, you said you have found some private investors that will help come maybe provide a portion of the down payment, or do they do the whole loan, or how does that work?
Sometimes it varies. Sometimes they'll do the whole loan, and sometimes they'll do the down payment, or sometimes they'll do the renovation. It just depends on the investor more than anything else. So what we do is we present like different tiers as well as different returns on your investment. Of course, the more you invest, the bigger their return will be. And then we give them the autonomy to select, what fits them best. And then, hopefully they become a repeat business relationship. And that's what it's all about, is really just creating those long lasting relationships that turn into fruitful ones long term. Yeah.
And then you're probably doing rehabs as well, right? When you're saying stabilize, it usually means needs to be brought up to a certain condition.
Yeah.
Yep.
Most properties we purchase are distressed. For the most part, we never really buy anything that's really rent ready. So it takes us about like 6 to 8 weeks to turn the properties over, where we, most of the time we put new windows, new roof, the whole 9, bathrooms, kitchen, etc. And just want to make sure that we have a comfortable living, because I would hate to have to pay rent somewhere where stuff isn't functional.
Yeah, of course.
So that's what our main thing is, making sure that the tenants are, one, safe, and also living in good condition as well.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So when you take down a property like that that's not really rent ready, it's hard to get traditional financing, right? So that's probably where I'm guessing your private individuals will provide the financing for that purchase, maybe also for the rehab, right?
Yes.
And then after it's all done, 8 weeks later, are you then getting new financing on it at that point?
100%.
Yeah.
So normally we refinance into a 30-year fixed DSCR loan, where the rent rate has to, of course, exceed the mortgage. And so we do that a lot, and then we refinance, and that's a way that we kind of pull some of our liquidity back out and to be able to reinvest it once again as well. So we just rinse and repeat that process, and it's been great for us over the last few years. Just to piggyback, we do use a lot of hard money as well. That's been the basis of our growth as well, is like working with a lot of hard money lenders as well in the marketplace.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. So you've got a few different options.
Yes.
Depending on where people are at with the money they have to go loan, and then you've got the option as well with the hard money lender.
Yes, sir.
How are you finding most of these deals? I mean, you said you're an agent too, so you got referrals, right?
Yes. I think that's the basis of everything. Well, from my trajectory, my career has been the building relationships with agents and them having specific distressed properties that may not align with like traditional financing, and they can't really sell it that way. They have to go to the investor route. And then it just becomes like knowing who's reliable and who can really get the job done, who's not just going to hold your transaction up to maybe try to assign it over to someone else, and then they cancel on you through the inspection period. They know that if we even assign it to someone else, that's great. But if we don't, we're going to take it down ourselves. And I think that's the difference with just being strictly a wholesaler as well as being a wholesaler and an investor. So it's worked great for us as far as like building those relationships with the real estate agents in our subject marketplace.
Do you do any direct to seller at all?
Yeah, we do direct to seller. Probate, we reach out to a lot of the personal representatives that are filing petition for summary administration. They're normally somewhat of a decision maker in the estate. Then we reach out to people that are facing foreclosure as well, foreclosure auction. We also help people. We have like a unique buyback program as well, where we will purchase the home, let you lease the home for a year. And if you can qualify, we'll resell you the property under market value as well. So that's been very attractive to a lot of the homeowners that we've been talking to, especially ones that are facing foreclosure, because essentially they want to keep their home. They just ran into a storm, a rough patch in life. And so we find out what that is, and we kind of help and build a plan for them to get back on track.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So so how do you find you're looking at like people who are filing the probate process? That's through like a court system in your county.
Yes.
And then there's a name. There's probably not a number, right? What do you guys use to go track them down and get in touch?
We use various skip tracing services to pull potential phone numbers and emails. And then we have a virtual team that is in different areas, Colombia, Venezuela, Philippines, that literally call all day to touch base with potential homeowners and decision makers. And that's what we do. And that's our day-to-day operations. We're more virtual than anything else. So,
okay, gotcha. And then once they get somebody on the phone, how much conversation do they have from the Philippines or Venezuela before they turn it over to you, or is it somebody on your team?
Yes. So we have lead managers on our team that normally the virtual assistants hand that off to, but their job is to literally pre-qualify, get as much information up front. Whether it's, the specifics of the home, motivation, a price that they're looking for. And that way it helps our lead manager go into that conversation a little bit more educated, as well as knowing how to service that homeowner, because everybody's situation is different.
Yeah.
And so like when we get all that pre-qualification information, that's what kind of leads up to, okay, well, this is what we can do to help you out of this. Like once we learn their pain point, like, hey, they may have fell on a hard time financially, lost their job or something like that. Okay, we have different programs that allow you to maybe get back on track, or if selling the home to you, a strictly cash offer, that's an option as well.
Got it.
Yeah.
So when does the lead manager, the VA passes it to the lead manager.
Yes.
And at what point does the lead manager pass it off to the acquisitions person?
Our setup is a little bit different, right?
Okay.
So we go VA, lead manager. They normally lock it down. I've taught and trained.
Oh, the lead manager locks it down.
In my company,
on the phone.
Yes.
They don't do anything in person.
They don't do anything in person.
Got it.
Unless it's local. So our focus when it's local market is to get in front of that homeowner. One, to get a better insight on the condition of the home more than anything else. Because sometimes when you're offering blindly, you can essentially offer more than what the home of the condition is, so that you have to be cognizant of that as well. So ultimately, like when we're in our local market, we love to get in front of that homeowner for that reason there, and then also it helps build trust as well with that homeowner in our company.
Yeah, I like being in person. That's
100%.
why I always invite people to do this.
Yes.
And thanks for being open to it. That's great.
100%. Thank you for having me.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate it, man.
Have you been on a podcast before?
I have been on a few before, but not to this magnitude, man. Like when I heard when you reached out to me, I was super excited. I said, man, I can't wait to get over there and speak with David, man. It's a pleasure to be a part of this for sure.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Definitely.
How did you get into real estate? Like what was the beginning for you?
Good question. So the way I started out, like before I was in real estate, I was in marketing and sales. I used to work for Coca-Cola. And I just got tired of the hustle and bustle and that, and it just wasn't serving me. I got my license. I didn't use it for quite some time. And then my father started getting sick. He became ill. His health started declining. And so I couldn't really sustain a full-time job because I would have to take him to the doctors and help service him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so I had to make the big boy decision to kind of, resign and step away from Coca-Cola. And then I was left with, well, what am I going to do now that's going to have time, freedom, and flexibility to be able to help my family as well. And that led me to, diving deeper into real estate. And so I inherited a home that my grandfather built from the ground up in 1960. And I renovated. It was in, a destitute state, but I renovated, put a lot of money that I made from Coca-Cola into the property. And once I renovated, I refinanced it, did a cash out refinance, and that created the liquidity for me to start investing and utilizing hard money for down payments and stuff like that. And that just kept growing into like a snowball effect. So yeah, that's my story.
I'm sorry to hear about your dad.
No, it's good. It's good.
What happened? Is he okay?
Yeah, he's good, man. He's a fighter. He's a diabetic. He's a double amputee. He has kidney failure as well. So just a combination of things and long-lasting effects of diabetes over time. But it's been about 10 years now that he's been sick, and he's fighting every day. He's still here and live and kicking. So. That's also like a big part of my inspiration is just seeing, his fight to want to still be here for him and his family.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Man, he's lucky to have a son that would drop everything to help him out too.
Thank you. Because I know he would do it for me as well. So,
yeah. What else did you consider besides real estate when you were looking at stuff you could do that would give you more time to help him out?
Honestly, I didn't know anything else.
Yeah. How'd you hear about real estate being an option?
Like I said, I got my license, but I always wanted to dive into. I always was in love with homes. Like my dad,
and he built that thing from scratch.
Yeah, my grandfather built that from scratch. So I always heard those stories. That always resonated with me. And then my father, we had a home that we grew up in, and he would build like additions on top of that. And he would always talk about like how it increased the value of the home. Mm-hmm. And so that was just always unique and very interesting to me and intrigued me highly. And so I was like, man, like what will be able for me to be able to work, remotely. And there's not many jobs that would allow to do such, especially, prior to, the pandemic. So all of this stuff happened before then. So I had to navigate and figure it out. And this was one of the things that I thought that, would serve me best is just like diving in and taking a chance at it for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good you had that growing up,
yes.
Right?
Yes.
And it sounded like both your grandpa and your dad had physical skills where they were building stuff with their hands. Mm-hmm. And now it seems like, but you've taken a different approach.
Yes.
And I'm guessing it helps you scale more, right? Because you're paying other people for their handiwork so that you can actually make investment decisions.
100%. I tried to starting out, I tried to jump into the projects myself. Wasn't having it.
Hey, I did that too. I did electrical wiring,
Yeah.
and it's a lot of manual work, more than you think.
And then it's more of the time cost that,
Yeah.
you know, when you're growing, you don't look at that in the beginning, but then you're like, okay, like now I'm seeing that this is not the best use of my time, not just for me, but for the entire company. And so me, you know, going to demo out a property, you know, and it taking the entire day is just not realistic for, you know, managing and delegating for the rest of the people in my staff as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Man, okay.
Yeah.
So what did you come to this meeting to take away? You've already accomplished, you know, 35-ish, 40 deals a year, which is an incredible feat.
Yes.
Not a lot of people get to that level.
Yes.
So what are you trying to accomplish other than get to 50, it sounds like?
It may sound like some level of insanity, but I'm just not satisfied. You know, I still want to grow. I don't think I've arrived yet. And I think, you know, with knowing that, once you reach a certain level, you know, you have to start digging for more information, right? And start, you know, reaching out to other people and seeing like, what are they doing at the highest level? You know, whether it's just their everyday habits, their systems, any information that they could lend over to you, and then you just take that back and incorporate it into your business. So my first CG meeting was last January that we met here. And it was just, you know, amazing. And so it just captivated me, like just the relationships that I've built as well. And then also, like we talked about wholesaling, sometimes when it's something that's not in my market, I have now a gamut of high-level investors that I know
you could reach out to somebody around that area if you needed to know about values or how to help sell it, right?
Yes. I had a deal in Dallas, Texas, and I had a guy in CG that I reached out to. He put me with his preferred title company, helped me shop the deal and whatnot. So it increases your level of resources 100%, which is being a part of this great group of guys.
I got you. Yeah. Any big takeaways from the January meeting?
I think my biggest takeaway is learning how to delegate and not try to be every role in my company, right? And I think that was my biggest thing, was me getting in my own way. And so like seeing how other people have their staff built up and, you know, the things that they do and the way that they, you know, look at their numbers and analyze their numbers, not just looking at, you know, profit only. Like, you know, we want to look at, you know, what are you spending too? And so like when I started like diving deeper into that, I'm like, man, like I'm not making as much as I thought I was, you know, but that taught me everything. And so now I know to kind of reincorporate that back into the business and redefine what, you know, processes that we have to make sure that we can get better on that bottom line number that we make as well.
Yeah. Do you know where the Mastermind concept came from?
I have no idea.
So I just learned this. So Andrew Carnegie, we all know him, and they actually was a newspaper, and they published that Andrew Carnegie was like a complete idiot. And so Andrew sued them because I mean that was like kind of like defamation, or he's not really an idiot. Right. So in court, the newspaper's lawyer was trying to argue that Andrew was an idiot. Wow. Because he didn't know the details of like one of the generals, you know, in the Civil War, and he couldn't answer the questions. So they're like, "See, he's an idiot."
Right.
But Andrew was like, "Why would you judge me based on this useless information that I would never need to know when I have a telephone on my desk, so I could push the buttons and immediately get the information from somebody in my circle that knows?"
Right.
And so that's how he won the case. Wow. And the concept was the Mastermind. It's the Mastermind for him was all of his employees and smart people that he had around him working at the company, where he could call and get specific information like that. But we've taken the level to people who are, you know, outside of our companies to meet with other business owners. And the way you described utilizing information in a certain market. Well, you're a member of Collective Genius. So you have the portal where you can push numbers and call somebody who's an expert at that market and give you the quick information you need to know to make money in that market. So that's where the concept Mastermind came from, was actually Think and Grow Rich, who's written by, written by, I forget the guy's name, but he basically studied a lot of people like Andrew Carnegie and boiled down what he learned from millionaires at the time, and so that's where the term Mastermind came from.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's power in proximity, and I think, you know, just circling back on why you asked me why I joined, is just that alone in itself, right? Like just getting and proximity to people that have been in the business longer than you, have seen the cycles, the ups and downs, and telling you like how they navigated when the market changed. Because like we are in a bit of a changing market now where, you know, it's more of a buyer's market. And how do you navigate through those times to sustain, to get through, and then when it gets back good again, because it will, it's cyclistic. And so like understanding that from some of the long-term investors that have been doing this for 40, 50 years, it gives you reassurance that you'll be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how long have you been, you said your dad's been sick for 10 years. So is that how long you've also been in real estate?
About 7 years. So I took some time like just off to, you know, I had some money put to the side where I just wanted to help him like get back and forth to the doctors. And then once that started getting low, it's time to get back out here and, you know, make some money. So that's what kind of led me into real estate. But yeah, about 7 years I've been deep into the real estate game. For sure.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I was wondering, like, what you said, you're never satisfied. Mm-hmm. Do you think that you'll ever be satisfied?
That's a great question. You know, I battle that every day. I talk to a lot of my colleagues, especially the ones that, you know, have been producing for some time now. And I ask them, like, what is ever enough? And they even struggle to answer that question, you know, because like once you reach a certain point, at least from my experience, what I've been through is like, I want to now, you know, my goals are redefined now. Like I now have a bigger goal and I'm like, well, when am I going to be satisfied to the point like I can just stop?
Yeah.
You know, but like I feel like I'm still young, you know, I'm 35, going on 35 years old. And so I still have a few years. I would like to be done around 40, 42. So I could just spend some time with my baby long term and just watch him grow up. But it's hard, you know. It's a hard question to answer. Is what's enough, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm still fighting to learn that answer right now. To be honest with you.
You know, I was actually inspired by somebody that I worked for whose goal was to retire when they were 40. When I was 23, I was working for him, and he was probably 35.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that he was going to do that through real estate. That's what got me into it. Yeah. Hey, Lona, could you look something up for us?
Yes.
How many people actually retire by the time they're 40? I'm curious. It's like a hard thing.
It's a hard thing.
Yeah. But I think what's going to happen with me is I always need, what's the answer?
Only 1%.
Only 1% retire by the time they're 40.
And it only slightly increases to 2% between 45 and 49.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. So only 2% retire by the time they're 50.
Crazy.
I definitely think that I'll be bored unless I have a challenge.
Yes.
I like to be challenged, and I feel like most people who start a business, they like a challenge.
Yeah.
So that's really, anything else interesting there, Lonan?
Oh, no, but Think and Grow Rich, that's Napoleon Hill.
Napoleon Hill.
Oh, Napoleon Hill.
I didn't want to be wrong.
You looked it up earlier when I was mentioning it. Yeah. So it's a great goal. It's important to have goals.
Yeah.
And things can change. But the fact that you had a goal is kind of what drove you, and then gives you resources to shift and do something else.
Yes.
I had reached a point in my business where it operated without me, and I kind of got sad and depressed, even though things were working well and smoothly, because I needed a challenge. And so that's whenever I kind of got into race car driving, because that was like a new challenge for me.
Okay.
And I wasn't good at it. It was outside of work, but I needed to learn, right? But now I'm definitely like kind of in bigger growth mode and more engaged with DealMachine through doing this content and other things with the team, So that's kind of how I got to know a little bit about myself, that I just will always enjoy and want to have a challenge to go on to the next thing, because doing nothing or being retired won't really be like satisfying for me. But I want to have a baseline so that I'll know I'll always be taken care of, give me confidence to work from that when I'm starting something new or working on a business.
Yeah, I don't think that, I don't see myself being 40 and just sitting at the house. That's my only concern. It's like, I think I would go crazy. Just sitting there and not, like my mind would just keep racing and trying to figure out what to do next. And I think that's what it is. And, me hearing your story, because you started out as an investor as well, correct?
I did. And here's another, so whenever I was in college, I had these internships where I made $20 an hour. It was pretty good for the time. And I would save all of it, because I was still like lived at home.
Okay.
And I just put all of it into that like Roth IRA that I was able to.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was about like $9,000 a summer that I was put away for 3 years of college. So then By the time I actually was working, I then tried to save like 50% of everything that I could for a few years, and I was only making 50, but I mean it was good for the time.
That's a lot to set aside as well, though.
Yeah, I didn't live with my parents anymore, but tried to save as much as possible, and some months I had to save less just because it was really aggressive. But my point is, then whenever I was like 23 and I had the opportunity to, I was getting into real estate.
Yeah.
I knew that there was like a lot of people looking for rundown houses and trying to get in touch with the owner. I was doing the same thing. I kind of made the app, saw that people wanted to use the app. I was like, I think I'm going to quit my job and do this.
Yeah.
That app became DealMachine.
Yeah.
But I had all those savings were to retire by 40. But I basically kind of repurposed them so I could live for 2 years with no income to go ahead and start DealMachine.
Wow.
And I'm sure, I don't know what your savings were for, but you had some money put aside, right? And then you kind of took a break when you needed to watch your dad and help him out. So I'm guessing those were for another purpose too. But that's to me why it's so important to have a goal.
Yeah.
But it's okay if the goal changes because the goal drives you. It helps you build resources that you can use towards your new goal when that changes. And so I always leave myself open to changing my mind about things, but I always also try to have a goal.
I'm happy we had this conversation because you're literally speaking to me right now. Like, what you just said just now, it's okay to, change your dream over time. And, I think for me, it's like I've gotten so stuck in, I'm an investor. And to hear someone like yourself that kind of, redirected and, still involved in real estate highly, with the company that you've built. But it's not, you're just an investor anymore. Now you're actually servicing like tons of investors across the nation. And it's a joy to really see.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure, man. Because I was like, using DealMachine. That was honestly like when I first started, 2018, 2019, I was using DealMachine, driving for dollars. It was tracking me. I was sending mailers. Like, honestly, DealMachine helped me so much in the beginning of my career. You asked me like how I was finding off-market properties. It was the first platform that I ever used was that because I didn't know much. I didn't know how to go into the court records. I didn't know how to, speak to specific homeowners facing specific situations. So it was just the stress for me, what I could visually see.
Yeah.
And so that's where I started with first. And then I started seeing the evolution of DealMachine with you guys adding additional lead sources and things and lists and things of that nature. And we had a conversation a while ago and you were just showing me like different filters and things that you guys can build out. And it's just like amazing to see like the consistent and continual growth that you guys aren't just satisfied with the platform being this way. You're constantly redefining it as well. So
thank you. Yeah, we definitely started out with the driving for dollars, but lately we realized that people in your situation, they don't necessarily drive for dollars anymore. We built a system that allowed you to hire drivers, but you weren't doing that already.
Right.
So we found out what's the biggest thing we could help you with in the homeowner data and the consumer data that we added in the last year has been more helpful. And it's allowed us to serve somebody like yourself. Specific, like you can look up like a property here or there and get good contact info through DealMachine, but you can also like filter by the language they speak, how old they are.
Wow. That's crazy.
Their occupation group. So like when the government was cutting jobs, I showed a few people how to find government employees in DC because it's
what?
Yeah. So it's really accurate phone number info, but a lot more about the person in addition to the property. And we've paired the data sets together and you can filter by that.
Stacking that data up.
Yeah. But so that was just what I was trying to say is that was how we were able to start helping in more ways, in the most way in the last year or so was putting that data set together. And I don't think anyone else has that ability to search by the consumer and the skip tracing data. Not just the property data and not just getting the phone number, but having all that other info about the person to search by.
Yeah, it's a great centralized hub of information that, especially for someone that's starting out, like I just couldn't imagine like just the plethora of information and data that they get up front just from one place. It's very beneficial for them. I would definitely assume for sure.
If you haven't looked at it recently, I would definitely encourage you to check it out next time you're looking up that the property, you're trying to get a hold of somebody. And that I think you'll be really pleasantly surprised. Even if you have rental properties, look them up and DealMachine will say the renter, your current tenant as well. So yeah, I know. That's why I say that because When I say the data is good, everyone says their data is good, so
Yeah.
it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
So I look for specific ways to illustrate how good it really is. But yeah, we know who's renting your property, and you could see that
Yeah.
as like a testament to like, oh, this is like a few layers deeper
Yeah.
than like just like skip tracing. You know, it's very powerful.
Yes, and even like you told me, the highest producing real estate agents, that list that you provided for me.
Yeah.
You know, that alone, like I just talked to you about, like that's what we're big on, is building agent relationships. So when you said that in the group, I was like, I raised my hand like, yes, please give me that data, and I appreciate it, man.
How's been the result of that?
Good. Actually, we've been reaching out to people, and also what we have been offering a lot of real estate agents and brokerages is us doing like virtual presentations for them. So because a lot of agents are kind of like one-track mind, and they don't understand that they can present multiple options and solutions when they go on those listing appointments. And so once they're educated and trained to that, then they know like, okay, I can also, you know, make money this way additionally as well, with building relationships with investors too. So it's been great, man. Like we've utilized the data for sure. I've had my virtual team been reaching out to those agents in the subject marketplace.
Could you tell us, as we kind of wrap up, what is your team saying to the agent when you pick up the phone and you call them? They say hello.
Yeah, so they're reaching out. They're just saying like, you know, one, hey, they're with Noble Home Solutions. One, we see that you're a high producing agent in the South Florida market. We just wanted to touch base with you and see if you had any potential properties that may not align with traditional financing, that may need renovation, distressed properties. And if not, in the future, we would love to build a relationship with you, because sometimes they don't, right? And so our job is to then, remain consistent in communication with them, because then they do run across that distressed property, even if it doesn't really match the type of properties that they normally list. Like it may be a high level luxury listing agent, but then maybe a family friend who needs some help. That doesn't align with what they normally list. So then they know they can reach out to us. And so that happens. It doesn't always happen overnight. Sometimes it's a slow cooker, and it's just about building that relationship and that trust over time. And so that's what we do. And we consistently send out emails and text messages just to, remain consistent.
So once you have the original conversation, you add them to your email list.
Drip campaign.
And then the email list, what do you share there? Recent deals that you've done?
Recent deals that we've done, statistics in the local marketplace, just various information that, because we also have like a RSS feed, my company, and we just attach our current news and stuff like that to just stay in front of them consistently. And I think that's the basis of the level of success, is just being consistent and staying in front of people. There's so many people that miss deals because they, kind of stop communication with one person or another party, and then you know how it is. Like, we're in a microwave industry. Like, well, our times are at least where, short attention span. So if you're not consistently in front of someone, they won't think of you, and you won't be first in mind. And so that's our goal, is to remain first in mind of all the real estate agents in the local marketplace.
I think a lot of people, they don't know what to say to stay in touch.
Yes.
So I think that was really cool for you to share.
Yeah. I think, like you said, like, I don't want to just keep asking for distressed properties. I want to also offer value too. Like, hey, if you want to get on a free real estate investor consultation, if you want to learn how to transition from just being a real estate agent to knowing how to invest as well, I think that's what a lot of real estate agents are lacking, is they don't reinvest the money they make from the commissions back into owning real estate, because we don't have a retirement plan. Most real estate agents, the real estate is normally your retirement. So just teaching them how to continuously scale and grow in that. And that's the value that I think that we offer, that's a little bit different from the normal one-off investor in the market too, is that we've been in the real estate agent, we produced in that, myself have produced at a nice level. And then I also transition, so I can give you the game plan from start to finish.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, what are you looking forward to most this year?
I'm looking forward to just like continuously growing and continuously servicing people that need help. I think that's what kind of drives me a little bit, is just people don't know how to navigate out of certain situations. People also get taken advantage of sometimes. And so like creating that level of clarity for people as to like how to maybe buy more time from your foreclosure to stay in the home, or just like, let's find a solution for transition. Like, let's take one step back to take two steps forward. That's what kind of drives me. And so like the direction that we want to go is just to keep servicing families. Our goal is to, purchase at least 20 homes this year. And then we'll probably wholesale to other investors as well, the rest of those inventory. But that's our goal, is to just keep scaling and growing our portfolio over time.
And please tell people where they can reach out to you if maybe they're one of
Yes.
those agents that wants to learn more about real estate investing.
Yes, my Instagram is Terrell Killings, all together, Terrell, Killings, Killings. Phone number 305-336-0075. And our website is www.noblehomesolutions.net.
Perfect.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you very much for coming in today. I appreciate
Always a
it.
pleasure, man. Thank you so much for having
Getting
me.
up early.
Yes, of course, man. Excited for this week.
Thanks for listening to the DealMachine Real Estate Investing Podcast. Please leave us a review and follow along wherever you're listening to your podcast.